Hello everyone and welcome to this crucial vlog really on learning process transition. Learning process transition applies to pretty much everything in the musical family method and should be considered every time you take on a new piece of music with your child. Okay, and this image to my right represents what's happening. Okay, so we can see the child in the top left and the adult in the bottom right. So this is representing how the child learns, primarily through play. The adult, of course, can do analysis before play. Adults can interpret abstract information, they can learn concepts, and they can apply them much better, much faster than young children. Even if you're not a musician, you will still get to this point first, okay, through this process. And these images represent the real keyboard. That's the one you actually play. Keyboard view and falling notes view in Synthia, which is a literal representation. Sheet music view in Synthia, which is interactive sheet music. And then printed sheet music, which is not interactive. Okay? And you need to help them transition through this process of increasing the understanding, improve their understanding of how they gain information. So let's look at the first view. This is the keyboard view, or this is the real keyboard. Okay, now this is a real object. Children can touch it, and very young children find this easier. You know, they learn to count with blocks because they can pick up the block and go, well, that's one real thing, and that's two real things, and that's three real things, and it makes sense when they can actually touch the object. We can help them understand this by putting keyboard stickers on. We can help them understand by, even just having a coloured sticker, or we can help them understand which notes to play, even just by literally demonstrating ourselves or pointing them out one at a time. So it's all super real, right under the nose. Okay. The next view, like I said, is the keyboard view and falling notes view. Let's pop over to Synthia. So here we go. This is a literal representation of the piano keyboard. It may seem obvious to you and I that that's what it is, but to a young child, not necessarily that obvious actually. They might not make that connection because they can't touch it. It's abstract. Okay, so above that we have the falling notes, and like the pointy finger from the adult, they point onto the keys that the child needs to play. And also, we can see ahead a little way as well. We can see what's coming, and we can see roughly how long the notes are going to be too. So that's a literal representation. This is sort of like a stepping stone to get onto interactive sheet music. Okay, so this is the next thing. We're now moving on to something which is even more difficult to understand, really, but ultimately more useful. Sheet music. Let's pop things around and get it open. So thankfully in Synthia, interactivity is still going strong, so we can still play with this. Kids can still play with it and just see blobs flying around and begin to figure out what's going on. But in terms of actually understanding it conceptually, first of all we have to realize that left to right is now representing time. Going right on my piano keyboard means that the blobs go up on the music. So that's that, which is more confusing. No labels, no alphabetical labels on sheet music. And I hope you aren't tempted ever to write alphabetical labels on printed music, because that's naughty, that's cheating. Note length is now represented symbolically. Okay, so these ones are worth 1, these are worth 4, these are worth 2, but they're all the same size. You need to understand that symbol to know that it's 1, 4, 2, etc. And there are more symbols to learn on top of that too. Okay, but thankfully it's still interactive. The final thing, of course, is printed sheet music. Interactivity is gone. You need to know what the notes are to use this. So now we get to the point where you have that knowledge. You can make sense of it, and you can apply that knowledge to read the music and then know what you need to play through that process. So there we go, learning process transition. And this, like I say, every time you start a new piece of music, it could be any piece of music, it could be hard, it could be easy, but everything really has to conform to this idea that you're trying to encourage your children to learn what this all means as they are playing with the software. Okay, and every teaching technique and the method really is to do with learning process transition.